Hello there, I'm just starting to put the steering clutch back together. I cleaned up all the splines in there, cleaned the bearing up and repacked it with grease. As you can see now, it rotates nice and smoothly. Before it wouldn't rotate at all, everything was jammed up solid. So the plan is, what I've done, I've actually put copper slip, very thin copper slip, on the internal and external. These, I'm replacing the fibre ones which are originally in this set with metallic metal ones, which supposedly they are stronger and they should last longer and less prone to seize. Obviously, I'm going to clean these up. It's quite a lot to clean up. These are the metal driving plates which fit in there, so as every other one. The principle of it is a big spring in there. When you pull the levers on the machine, that forces the spring in, therefore reducing all the tension on the plates, so the plates are free to rotate amongst each other. They would normally be locked up solid, but when you pull the lever, the plates can actually rotate past each other. The brake is then applied to the outside of here, which stops the drum rotating, so you'll get no drive due to that they're not being engaged and pressed together, and you get the brake applied to there, so your tractor will turn with a pull of the lever, and when your foot brake will brake onto the drum. The next job is to start cleaning all these up. It's quite a lot to clean up, front and back. Not too bad actually. These are off one of the clutches I stripped down. This is the one that actually had to burn out. It's such a bad state, but it took a lot of cleaning to clean up all those grooves in there. The key is to make sure that these plates slide nice and free on this, so when you actually release your levers, the plates don't stick and you get drag. And the original problem was all these plates in here were together so tight they weren't sliding nice and smoothly on there, so you're in permanent drive. You couldn't disengage the drive apart from the main engine clutch, so you couldn't steer the machine, so it was just stuck. You could go forwards and backwards in many gears, but you couldn't steer the machine, so that was the main problem. But as you can see, I've now runs nice and freely now. This is the actual drive dog. This plate here, when they install the clutch, when all these plates are back in and the front cover's back in, this along with the actuator fits over the top of there. It's lowered into the machine in that position, flush, and then when you got in position, when the back is bolted here and this is bolted in there, it comes out to about that position, roughly about an inch or so out further. So this bit here bolts to the actual crown wheel on the machine, and that is your actual drive. It doesn't look a lot actually, but it's surprising. When you're thinking these machines can pull a 4-footer plough, no problem at all, and the machine weighs about just over 3 ton, 3.5, 4 ton. So it's a fair bit of force exerted onto this. But as you can see, the rebuild is starting now on the last clutch. The other bits down here, this is the plate which goes on the outside, which fits on the outside of here, and that is the actual release bearing there to release the clutch, which is connected by forks to your steering levers. So that goes facing inwards to the crown wheel, and this goes on the end of this drum. So it's taking shape. It's it's time consuming, but you know, once this is done, it'll last for years and years and years. But the trouble with crawlers is if you leave them standing for a long time, you will get this problem. You get steering clutches sticking. A lot of people say to tie the levers back so the plates are actually in loose released mode, so they don't tend to jam up within those grooves. So hopefully by giving a light coat of copper slip to these grooves, that should never happen. It's a very light, you know, can't put too much on there, otherwise with centrifugal flow it'll fly out, and you don't really want to get anything between the discs, otherwise you lose your friction, therefore you lose your drive. But this is very, very lightly coated here, just to stop the plates sticking. They don't seem to stick on this one. The problem I found on the clutches I've seen, they stick on the outer, because what happens is condensation gets in, and all the moisture from storage, and if you don't use the machine for a long time, and it builds up corrosion in those little slots, and then your plates, your steel plates, stick. These steel plates here actually stick in those grooves there, and so your clutch is permanently stuck in drive position, therefore you can't steer the machine. So by doing this, I've done the other one exactly the same way as this. This is the second one now, which is the right hand clutch. Once this all put back together, it doesn't take long to put back together, maybe half hour. What you have got to do though, you've got to compress that spring. You've got to compress that spring there to get all the plates in, because it's when the drum's together and all the clutch packs fitted, it's permanently locked up. The only way to release that is by putting pressure on there. So on this outer plate you've got 3 bolt holes, 1/2 inch UNC. You've also got 3 bolt holes on the back. You can do it both sides. You see, for be brilliant the clutch, I put bolts in the back, 3 1/2 inch UNC bolts. I don't know if you can turn it around. If you can do that there. You can see it better here. See this bolt hole there. You try and get all 3 lined up the best way, which is, let's see, about there. Put a bolt there, and a bolt there. You wind them in. Now I'm going to go far, about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and that compresses the spring. And therefore you can fit all your plates easily. Then once all the plates are fitted, you remove the bolts, the jacking bolts, and the clutch is rebuilt. As you can see, I've repacked. This is a back pilot bearing. I've had to change it because the original was, the outer race was actually not locking up into the casting, so I replaced the bearing, that bearing there, and packed it with grease. So when this machine's all together, the way you get grease into that is up that grease tube. It's a grease nipple at the end there, and you pump grease up into there, into the plate, goes past the plate, round the plate with a cutaway, and back into that. There's between the two parts into the balls there, and sort of gets the grease into the bearing there. So there we go. It's taking shape. It's running nice and smoothly, as you can see. So the next step now is to get things back together and then put it back into the machine. Goodbye.